You must remember that after 2016, he and Hillary, she was calling him a Russian agent and he was calling her Crooked Hillary. Everybody thought that given she had destroyed 30,000 emails and the devices upon them and they were under subpoena, that he would have the DOJ go after her. And what did he say? The first thing he said, she's suffered enough. People went to him and said, you've got to fire James Comey, the director of the FBI. He tried to sabotage. I'm not going to do that. He never did any of that. But how can he heal the country when Letitia James, a prosecutor in New York who tried to bankrupt him, has said that she's going to press down? How can you do when Alvin Bragg at the end of the month is going to try to put him in jail? And Jack Smith has re-indicted him, a federal prosecutor. For all of these were minor matters that no other prosecutor would have picked up. They've never done it against an ex-president. And now we're facing a situation where the left is openly saying, well, we may have lost the election, but maybe Fannie Willis or Letitia James or Alvin Bragg or Jack Smith can put him in jail. And that would cause a constitutional crisis. Two people tried to shoot him. People are very afraid of his health in the next 90 days until he takes power. Everybody had heard a new Kamala Harris that had rejected 30 years of her very radical socialist agendas to be palatable. But everybody now is so cynical. They know that when she has 90 days left on her vice presidential tenure, she'll just revert back to what she was before the campaign. And so the hostility is coming from the left. And it's always been that way in this cycle of politics that we've seen. There's something about Donald Trump that, and you see it in your country, you see it in Europe, among wealthy elites, educated elites. They feel that he should not represent them, even though he is constitutionally won that privilege of representing them. They still don't want him to be represented by him.
It's a very patronizing attitude towards
it is.
Democracy and the people's real right to choose their leader, I have to say. So I would have thought it would call for a little bit of humility, but I suppose that's wishful thinking. A little bit of humility that might say, well, we're out of step with what the American people want. How do we go back and engage in some genuine reflection?
No, I wish you were right.
And meet those people and understand their concerns. Well, that won't happen, I take it.
No, if you look at the news shows today, and I stayed up last night and watched a lot of the left-wing cable shows, I thought they would say it's time to do what the Republicans did after they lost to Barack Obama. And that was, people said to themselves, we're never going to win an election with a Mitt Romney or John McCain. We need to broaden the party, and that's what brought in Donald Trump. But they're not talking about that. They're not saying that the border or the economic plan or the third sex, the transgendered mania. None of that is polarizing, they think. So what are they talking about instead? We're going to blame Joe Biden. We didn't get rid of him quick enough. Or she only had 100 days to campaign. Or nobody imagined how cruel Donald Trump was. Or Fox News didn't tell the truth. Fox News on a good night has 4 million, and the left-wing network and cables have 25 million viewers. So they're in la-la land, and I don't think they're going to get the message. If they lose the Senate at some of the levels they're talking about, we have two tight races, one in Pennsylvania and one in Nevada, but they could very easily be 55-45 disadvantage in the Senate. And the House looks like it will remain Republican with maybe two pickups. And the thing that I think your viewers should appreciate is this will not be a majority like 2017 when he came in. And there were sizable numbers of never-Trumpers among the Republican ranks that were more hostile to Trump, McCain being one of them. But there is no John McCain, there is no Bob Corker, there is no Jeff Flake in the Senate, there is no Adam Kinzinger type, there is no Liz Cheney in the House. The people who are in the majority now are strong supporters to the person of Donald Trump. And if these trends hold for the next day or two, we have this embarrassing delayed count in some states, he will be able to have initiatives that no one has really had in a quarter century. And there's things that he's been talking about informally and to people that they look back at Ronald Reagan and they say he was the best conservative president, but he brought in the right people and the right plans, but he didn't institutionalize those. And while they respect the Constitution, and Trump will not do something like the left would do, get rid of the filibuster or the Electoral College, he will do things that are constitutionally substantive, like break up the administrative state, like put the FBI, for example, in Kansas City and not in Washington, or maybe look at one cabinet, the Department of Education, to just abolish it. And so they are talking about things we have not heard said before, that they feel that would make lasting change and stop these pathologies.